Hey everybody, it is Mike Young, a digitalnomad.net, and I have a very special edition here. I've never done this before. I'm going to do a reading. I say it from the Gospel of Mr. Beast, and it's his leaked out 36-page document. I believe it's 36 pages. It's a PDF. It's going to be cumbersome to read. So yeah, one of 36. All right. First one's just a title. And I figured what I'd do is, since everybody's short on time and a lot of people want to know what's going on in the digital world, I'll just do a reading with my commentary. So you can play this like a podcast or something like that and just listen to it. So, and feel free to share it with people, and also, comment down below with your thoughts as to anything you might learn in this. I have a feeling I'm going to learn a lot because definitely in the digital space. And Mr. Beast, if you don't know, what is his name? Jimmy Donaldson. He's from North Carolina, I think outside of Greenville, North Carolina. And he is the world's most popular YouTuber here in 2024 and has been for a number of years. He's got almost as many subscribers as there are people in the United States. And apparently, if you add up all of his followers outside of, including YouTube and other platforms, that he has more people than are in the entire United States. It's mostly a younger, I think, Generation Z male audience, because he's in his like 20, I think he's 26 now. So that's who he appeals to, gamers. He started out like that. I remember seeing a video of his where he just counted from 1 to 100,000 or something like that. And that was a video he did back in the day. I guess he was experimenting with the algorithm, and he's figured out how to master the algorithm. Unlike people like me, I just produce content that I think is interesting and enjoyable. And I have some folks out there, so thanks for being a subscriber. I think right now I've got like 15,000 subscribers, something like that. And I also run 2 other YouTube channels. One of them's a nonprofit, one of them's real estate based, and one of them's the Tesla High Mileage Club. So we got 4 all together. So join them all, subscribe to them all if you don't already, and let's get into the reading. How to succeed in Mr. Beast production. Actually, I'll kind of hold this up so I look more at the camera, if that's possible. All right, hi, I'm Jimmy Mr. Beast. And as the team is growing larger, I no longer get to spend as much time with everyone as I used to. The first dozen employees had unfiltered and unlimited access to me to learn as much as they could about my vision and what I wanted. Sadly, you don't have that luxury. So I thought it would be useful to try to brain dump as much as I can into the silly little book to give new people, to help bring them up to speed on everything I've learned over the past decade with this channel. 10 years, so about 16 to 26, I guess. We've been through a lot, and chances are most of the problems you face we've dealt with. So I genuinely believe if you attentively read and understand the knowledge here, you will be much better set up for success. So if you read this book and pass a quiz, I'll give you $1,000. Sorry in advance for all the run-on sentences and grammar issues. I'm a YouTuber, not an author. Haha. All right, page 2. This is not a rule book. I need to kick this thing off by saying the purpose of this is not to give you a bunch of rules to follow. On top of that, I want nothing in here to be taken literally. What we do is complex and changes based on the situation. I need you to repeat this in your head 3 times. Quote, I will apply everything I read with a grain of salt, unquote. This is not an inclusive list of everything. I hope this inspires you with questions and to come to us to learn more. Page 3, prelude. I don't know what this means. I know it was a Honda that discontinued back in the 90s. I think it might be coming back. It was in the 80s too. It's a really nice car in the 80s. I could make a separate book for creative, a separate book for production, a separate book for editors, etc. But I think that would be dumb. Everything we do here is interconnected, and the more you understand about what others are doing and trying to accomplish, the better set up for success you will be. So this will be information about all parts of Mr. Beast Productions, and I advise everyone to read it in its entirety. A good example of this is James Warren. He understands every single part of this company at a deep level, and as a result can make decisions faster than anyone else. The stuff you'll be reading, he knows about like the back of his hand. I've seen a team of 5 people work on a project for a week just to give up, and James solves it in 30 minutes. I say this not to flex for him, but to show you the power that comes when you understand everything in this book deeply. The more you know about why we do things and what we're trying to accomplish, the better off you'll be. So let's start off with some basic stuff. What is your goal here? Your goal here is to make the best YouTube videos possible. That's the number one goal of this production company. It's not to make the best produced videos, not to make the funniest videos, not to make the best looking videos, not the highest quality videos. It's to make the best YouTube videos possible. Everything we want will come if we strive for that. Sounds obvious, but after 6 months in the weeds, a lot of people tend to forget what we are actually trying to achieve here. IDC, I don't care how traditional media does things. Pardon the bluntness, but this is not Hollywood, and I do not want to be Hollywood. And if that sentence is a turnoff to you, then you're probably, and page 4, at the wrong job. I genuinely mean that. YouTube is the future, and I believe with every fiber of my body, it's going to keep growing year over year, and in 5 years, YouTube will be bigger than anyone will ever have imagined. By the way, this was leaked out last month, September 2024. And I want this channel to be at the top, which is why I say we are not Hollywood. 99% of movies or TV shows would flop on YouTube. On top of that, they'd be wildly unprofitable, have no flexibility, and long lead times that can't adapt to trends. We aren't here to make a small movie once or twice a year. I want to make one a week, LOL, which is why you need to be nimble and produce content our way, not the way you were taught before. Even if you want the highest probability of success, I beg you to learn why we do what we do at a deep level before you try to, quote, fix, unquote, anything. We've done countless videos and invested hundreds of thousands of hours collectively building how we do things. I know it's not perfect, but we have a reason for how we do most stuff, and it's probably a decent one. Next paragraph, titled, "The amount of hours you work is irrelevant." That's true, you're not getting paid for your time. You're getting paid for results. Before you get mad, recall the story about James solving a problem in 30 minutes a team of 5 couldn't do in a week. That example, does it really matter how many hours they worked? Obviously, we want grinders that put in the hours, and I love you guys to death for that. But at the end of the day, you will be judged on results, not hours. That's the way the world works nowadays. So I'm glad he understands that, and that's probably why he's so successful. We are a results-based company. Get shit done and move the goalpost. All right, next paragraph title. I only want, quote, A players. Sorry, I'm trying to adapt to my, I wish I had like a little hanging teleprompter here. It would be a lot easier, but that's okay. This is YouTube. As I type this, I realize it may not be the wisest to categorize everyone into 3 buckets. Actually, I'm going to move this down here a little bit. Going to change up my positioning. But this is how I believe we should look at everyone a part of the production team. At everyone, this is how I believe we should look at everyone a part of the production team. Okay, I'm not sure. Bad grammar. You're either an A player, a B player, or a C player. There is only room in this company for A players. A players are obsessive, learn from mistakes, coachable, intelligent, don't make excuses, believe in YouTube, see the value of this company, and are the best in the goddamn world at their job. That's who he wants. Okay, that's any company would love to have people like that. Usually you don't see that in a job description. B players are the new people that need to be trained into A players, and C players are just average employees. They don't suck, but they aren't exceptional at what they do. They just exist, do whatever, and get a paycheck. It sounds like he doesn't want those, and it does sound like that's most people, if you ask me, at least most traditional employees. They aren't obsessive at learning. C players are poisonous and should be transitioned to a different company immediately, in capital letters, immediately. And then in parentheses, he says, it's okay, we give everyone severance, they'll be fine, unquote, or close parentheses, I'm sorry. Well, so that's amazing. So like I said, C players sound like the average employee. He says that they should be transitioned to another company immediately, AKA laid off or fired. And he says he'll give them severance since they're so successful. And that's the thing. A lot of times these people really drag the company down. He just wants to get rid of them as fast as possible, which I highly recommend. Chapter 1. What makes a YouTube viral? What makes a YouTube video viral? We're on page 5. I spent basically 5 years of my life locked in a room studying virality on YouTube. Okay, I've seen some of those early videos. Some days, me and some other nerds would spend 20 hours straight studying the most minor thing, like Is there a correlation between better lighting at the start of the video and less viewer drop-off? And then in parentheses, there is. Have good lighting at the start of the video, haha, close parentheses, or other tiny things like that. And the result of those probably 20,000 to 30,000 hours of studying is, I'd say, I have a good grasp on what makes YouTube videos do well. The three metrics you guys need to care about is click-through rate, or CTR, average view duration, or AVD, and average view percentage, AVP. Make sure you know those abbreviations because that's how most people will refer to them. Up first, we'll talk about CTR, which is the click-through rate. This is important no matter what. Oh, it's my phone. That's my teleprompter. All right. But if you're just listening to the audio, you can't see that and it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. First up, we'll talk about CTR. This is important no matter what department you work in. CTR is basically how many people see our thumbnail in their feeds divided by how many click it. If 100 million people see our thumbnail and 10 million click on it, that means 10% clicked, and we have a 10% CTR. This is kind of related to actually email campaigns. We have our own private audience on email, and that's about what we get, about 10%, sometimes greater, up to 20 if we have a really cool email that goes out, and sometimes like down to 5 at the worst if we have a real boring thing that nobody wants to open. This is what dictates what we do for videos. Quote, I spend 50 hours in my front yard, unquote, is lame, and you wouldn't click it. But you would hypothetically click, I quote, I spend 50 hours in ketchup, unquote. Both are relatively similar in time/effort, but the ketchup one is easily 100 times more viral. An image of someone sitting in ketchup in a bathtub is exponentially more interesting than someone sitting in their front yard. Titles are equally as important for getting someone to click. A simple way to up that CTR even more would be to title it, quote, I survived, unquote, instead of, quote, I spent, unquote. So I survived 50 hours in ketchup. That would add more intrigue and make it feel more extreme. In general, the more extreme, the better. Quote, I don't like bananas, unquote, won't perform the same as, quote, bananas are the worst food on earth, unquote. Now, if you're in production or creative, you might be wondering, why does the title and thumbnail matter to me? Expectations is why. The title and thumbnail on the videos you will be producing set the expectations for the viewer of your video. Imagine that you clicked on a video titled, quote, world's largest bouncy castle, unquote, and the thumbnail had a giant yellow bouncy castle beside a bunch of huge buildings. Then, when the video plays, it's not a yellow bouncy castle, it's red. It's also not the world's largest. It's in a field with no buildings like the thumbnail. You'd feel you were lied to and click off because the video did not meet the expectations of the thumbnail. Now, this is all in caps. This is why you must know the title and thumbnails of the video you are making, exclamation mark. How can you know how to, page 6, start your video if you don't even know what expectations the viewers have of you? Now, let's jump over to the second metric that matters, AVD. That's average viewing duration, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. This is how long on average people watch a given video. The cool thing about YouTube is they give you a super detailed graph for every video that show the exact second we lose a viewer on every single video. And then there's some graphics here, key moments for audience retention. You can see average view duration, average percentage viewed. You can see right in there. Hopefully you read that. Anyway, and then you can see how it drops off on the graph that's shown here. 60% of viewers are still watching at the 30-second mark, which is typical, et cetera, et cetera. See that blue line in the image above? Let's go back to that. This is what he's talking about. That blue line drops off at the end. That represents the attention span of the 60 million people that clicked on this video. It's crazy, but we can see exactly when every single person who clicked on this video clicks off. As with almost every video on YouTube, the first minute has the most look. This is why we freak out so much about the first minute and go so above and beyond to make it the best we freaking can. All right, the first minute. On this particular video, we lost 21 million viewers in the first minute of the video, in parentheses, which surprisingly compared to channels is above average, close parentheses, and could have been much worse. So that means they lost a third of their viewers. If they had 60 million people clicking on it, they lost 21 million right away in the first minute. They still had 2/3 of their viewers. So that is pretty good. Let's say the start of that video wasn't well lit. I didn't match the expectations of the clickbait. I didn't pre-plan what I'd say, and we didn't front load some interesting stuff for the first minute of content. We would have lost much less than 21 million people because it wouldn't have gotten 21 million views, LOL. But if the views were hypothetically fixed, then instead of still having 39 million viewers at the 1 minute mark, it would be more like 20 million viewers. The first minute of each video is the most important minute of each video. That's it sounds like something you don't want to forget. The first minute. After the first minute of content, you'll have what we call minutes 1 through 3. This is where you have to transition from hype to execution generally. Stop telling people what they will be watching and start showing them. An example of a 1 to 3 minute tactic would use is crazy progression. Let's say we have a 10-minute video about a guy surviving weeks in the woods. Instead of making the first 3 minutes of the video about his first day and then progressing it from there like a logical filmmaker would, we try to cover multiple days in the first 3 minutes of the video so the viewer is now super invested in the story. They've seen this man survive multiple days in the woods in a couple minutes and emotionally now want to see how much further he can go. We also want to do something around the 3 minute mark called 3 minute re-engagement. A re-engagement can be described as content that is highly interested, that fits the story, and makes people genuinely impressed. Another way to look at this is it's a segment that, quote, only Mr. Beast can do this, unquote. It's important to re-engage the viewer around this time because they could get bored of the story and click off. And as we all know, everybody has the shortest attention spans ever nowadays, so that makes a lot of sense. These re-engagements are usually spectacles and sometimes need lots of time and money to perfect. A good example of a re-engagement is when Carl was put in charge of watching Josh in the, quote, $10,000 every day you survive prison, unquote, video. When Carl was put in charge of watching Josh. I didn't see that one. Maybe some of you did. You can comment on what that was. I need some water. I'm talking a lot. I have a lot more to go. Following the first minute, then minutes 1 through 3 is obviously what we call minute 3 through 6 and is the next most important part of the video. This is where you plan out all the most exciting and interesting content that is also very simple. This includes lots of quick scene changes and highly stimulating simple content that reflects the story. The goal is to make them fall in love with, page 8, the story, the people in the video and the overall video itself. If we can get them to watch the first half of the video, there's a very high chance they'll watch to the end. Usually at the 6 minute mark, we'll include another re-engagement that is highly interesting but needs a little more explanation and will push the story in the back half of the video. And lastly, we have what we call the back half content. I have to be careful writing this because I don't want you to ever for a second think I'm okay with content being subpar. Most videos have been killed because the back half content was ass, LOL. But in general, once you have someone for 6 minutes, they are super invested in the story and will probably in what I call a, quote, lull, unquote. They're watching the video without even realize they're watching a video. Typically, the not as good content would be in the back half of the video. Don't ever signal the end of the video unless it's going to build hype for the prize or payoff at the end of the video. This is also where long explanation bits can live, and if something unexpected happens or things don't go to plan, that can be turned into content. The above paragraphs are why you'll hear us ask what minute mark in the video that you are working on is. Whether it is production, creative, or editing, you must always know what minute mark the content you are working on is. If you don't, then you're not doing it right. I just whipped out a calculator, and the combined seconds of content in our last 100 videos is 81.801 seconds, which divided by 100 means the average Mr. Beast video is 818 seconds, or 13 minutes and 37 seconds. Some are shorter, like when we, and then in parentheses, like when we do a real-time shoot or something more emotional and I don't want it dragged out, close parentheses, and some are longer, parentheses, open giant spectacles like giving away an island as an example, close parentheses. But 13 minutes is the average, and you are expected to know when producing which minute of that 13 minutes you're working on. And since we're on the topic of retention graphs, here's a cool visual. We're on page 9. The shape of the audience retention graph can tell you which parts of your video are the most and least interesting to viewers. When the line on the chart is flat, it means viewers are watching that part of your video from start to finish. Gradual declines means viewers are losing interest over time. All videos on YouTube generally taper off during the playback period. Spikes appear when more viewers are watching, rewatching, or sharing those parts of the video. I'll show you those right now so you can see. This is what I was looking at. All right, and then keep going down. Dips mean viewers are abandoning or skipping that particular spot on your video. Okay. The last of the 3 trackable metrics that matters to virality is AVP and TBH. To be honest, this doesn't matter as much to you. Usually the length of the video will be decided by me or Tyler. I just need you to make people watch as long as possible. Another non-trackable thing about virality I'd like you to know is what we call the quote wow factor unquote, and it's definitely the most subjective. You can check all the above boxes for CTR and AVD, but the video still might do for us. An example of the quote wow factor unquote would be our 100 days in the circle video. We offered somebody $500,000 if they could live in a circle in a field for 100 days. And instead of starting with his house in the circle that he would live in, we bring it in on a crane 30 seconds into the video. Why? Because who the fuck else on YouTube can do that, LOL. The fact that we lifted a house on a crane didn't add anything to the title and thumbnail. It obviously hooked the viewers and helped retention, but there are millions of ways we could have done that easier. It's arguably from a data standpoint, illogical and a waste of time, but the impression it leaves on the viewer is invaluable for us. Anytime we do something that no other creator can do, that separates us in their mind and makes our videos more special to them. That's definitely something to remember. It changes how they see us, and it does make them watch more videos and engage, page 10, with the brand. And that's Mr. Beast is the brand. Keep that in mind. Oh, by the way, before I forget about his brand, I just want to comment. I did a video on our plantbaseddiet.org YouTube channel, which you can go to at plantbasedvideos.info about Mr. Beast's festivals. And I wish this guy would at least use his influence to not sell harmful foods to people, which is basically what he's doing, and it's really bad from my opinion. But you know, he's making all kinds of money, and he is the most successful YouTuber out there. I guess it's more like a reflection of the way society's going right now, and it's really sad, I suppose. You can't track the wow factor, unquote, but you can describe it. Anything that no other YouTuber can do. And it's important we never lose our wow. Well, like I said, no other YouTuber can have their own food brand. These Feastables, they got Mr. Beast burgers at burger joints, also super harmful to your health. That's the problem. That's what I'm commenting on. Chapter 2, we're on page 10, creating content. For this next part, I want to write about actually creating content. I'm not going to talk about any production system in particular because the way we run this production changes almost every year. Ha ha. I just want to pass on things I see new people typically fail at, and in general, what I want. Our videos are hard, and if you take a look at the difficulty of our videos and the trend lined it over time, you'd see that they are only getting harder. So the difficulty of making the videos is what he's talking about, how complex they are, how much money it takes probably. That's because you have to stay on top. This is why I want the best in the world and people who are obsessed. If you're not growing, eventually the difficulties of the videos will outgrow you. That's true. You're either getting better or worse at anything that you do. If you're not growing, eventually the difficulties of the videos will outgrow you. Whether it be production, creative, camera, or editing, I want you to be obsessed with YouTube. Get rid of Netflix. Get rid of it. And Hulu. And watch tons of YouTube. It will, without a doubt, in my mind, make you more successful here. Yeah, those are just two totally different genres of content. They're not even the same anymore. YouTube is the new TV, but it's not the same. And that's what he's saying here. To do well at it, you have to study it and participate in it. The more interested you are in our world on YouTube, the more you'll understand trends, how we can stand out and be more original, and what we could do better, etc. You should also really try to watch every Mr. Beast video on all the channels. Open parentheses. Sounds obvious, but I've asked multiple people this week what they thought about last week's gaming video, and not a single person had seen it. Close parentheses. On top of learning from watching YouTube, I'd love for you to read, quote, The Goal, unquote, if you haven't already. I used to make everyone read it. Sounds like a book, I guess. I know bottlenecks are obvious, and it would sound like I'm talking to 10-year-olds sometimes, but just not knowing and understanding something as simple as bottlenecks has fucked tons of videos. You all should deeply understand the work stream from when a video hits the calendar to when it's filmed. They still call it filming. I don't understand that. Is there any film on this thing? No, there's none. I don't know. Even people who are too young to understand when they used to use film, do they even still use film? I don't know. But they're not filming. I can't believe that's a word. That's like, well, that's like saying my PIN number, personal identification number. That doesn't make any sense either. It would just be PIN. All right. I don't have the best track record of making the video filming camera super far out and sticking with it. Let's say you're in production and a video you're assigned to is put up 45 days out. A lot of things need to happen before you can start working on it. The big things would be probably you need a thumbnail sketch and creative on your team to write the video. Do not, in big capital letters, do not just go to them and say, quote, I need creative. Let me know when it's done, unquote, and quote, I need a thumbnail. Let me know when it's done, unquote. This is what most, page 11, people do, and it's one of the reasons why we fail so much. Now keep that in mind. Mr. Beast is saying they fail so much. That is very important in terms of doing well. You have to fail as much as possible, as fast as possible, and learn from it. And I think that's what he's going to be telling us here. I want you to look them in the eyes and tell them that they are the bottleneck, and take it a step further and explain why they are the bottleneck so you both are on the same page. Quote, Tyler, you are my bottleneck. I have 45 days to make this video happen, and I cannot begin to work on it until I know what the content of this video is. I need you to confirm you understand this is important, and we need to set a date on when the creative will be done, unquote. Now, this person who also has tons of shit going on is aware of how important this discussion is, and you guys can P-R-I-O, like prioritize it accordingly. Now, let's say Tyler and you agree that it will be done in 5 days. And this is all in capital letters here. You don't get to set a reminder for 5 days and not talk to him for 5 days. Okay. I say this is true with just about anything. You always have to remind people. You can never assume that they're going to remember. That's what he's saying here. Never assume that people are going to remember or prioritize, and that's good advice. Assuming is always bad. Every single day, you must check in on Tyler and make sure he is still on track to hit the target date. I want less excuses in this company. That's right, because if you don't do that, you're going to blame it on Tyler or whoever it is, and you're going to say it's their fault, and you're going to basically be playing the victim, and that never works out well. Take ownership and don't give your project a chance to fail. You hear that? Take ownership and don't give your project a chance to fail. Dumping your bottleneck on someone and then just walking away until it's done is lazy and gives room for error. And I want you to have a mindset that God himself couldn't stop you from making this video on time. Check in daily, leave. These are all ending in a period. No room for error. So you're going to have to manage these people. Anybody working on something underneath of you, you have to be an active manager. That's basically what he's saying. And you can't blame them. It's all your fault. If you're the manager and you're in charge, it's all your fault, no matter how it turns out. For this next part, I want to brain dump about random things and explain why we do and say certain things. If you understand all this, then you'll be in a good spot. Like, seriously, these are cheat codes and you should take them to heart. All right, title of this part is Video Everything. We're on page 11. I want us to see producing as a team job, not a solo thing, which is why it's important that you video everything critical, open parentheses, and also anything you think people would ask about, close parentheses. Let's say you go to scout a set for a video in a month while the rest of your team is working on this week's video. Most people just go to scout the set, maybe grab a photo and walk around and try to grab a good mental model of it. Then a week later, when you're back, this video is now Tyler's main focus, and he starts asking questions about the set, and you can't quite recall. The questions get more and more detailed, and all you have to go off is what's in your mind. The rest of your production team also needs to start planning bits, but they don't know what it looks like, and it's a shit show. This is why we say video everything. And YouTube is a video platform. If you think that video isn't relevant in the rest of your life, then you probably shouldn't be making YouTube videos, in my opinion. Which is more important, that one person that has a good mental grip of something, or that their entire team of 10 people have a good mental grip on something? Obviously the team, right? The only way you're going to get that is if you have good, you've documented everything that you're working on with video. I think that's a great way to do it. And also, the easiest way to bring your team up to the same page is to freaking video everything and store it where they can constantly reference it. A lot of problems can be solved if we just video sets and ask for videos when ordering things. I found this true in just daily life nowadays. A lot of times, if I've got to video something or convey something to somebody, I'll create a little short video of some length, maybe a couple minutes, maybe a couple seconds, depending on what's there, and I'll upload it to YouTube actually as a private video that someone can only view with the link and can't find it otherwise, and then I'll send it to them. I think that's a way that Mr. Beast would probably find acceptable, especially because a lot of problems can be solved if we just video sets and ask for videos when ordering things, especially because I personally am a visual guy and I always ask to see what things look like. So even for me, videos are valuable. Video everything. All right, next header. Save the negatives. Title says it all. Don't just tell people on your team or me why something is good. It's definitely more valuable to tell us why it's not good. Oh, so not save the negatives. Say the negatives. Tell us why it's not good. Say that. So you're gonna be your hardest critic. And all this is in capital letters. I found the castle we need for the video! ! But it's booked all year, over budget, and someone died in it last week. That's the negatives. Next title, it's your fault. Track the contractor. I know I already talked about this, but if there's one thing I'd really love to impose on you from this writing, it's that you can't just dump and forget your projects. I can't stand when people dump and forget their project on a contractor, and the day before the shoot, blame them for when it's not ready. Again, they're playing the victim, right? That's bad. It's bad. And they assumed it would be ready. Another bad move. That's on you in capital letters, not the contractor. Let's say we are building the world's largest water balloon and you need something to make a giant wooden stand for it to sit on. Most people would just call someone like JB and have him do it and tell him to be done by filming day. Instead, you should really have it done a certain time frame in advance. Open parentheses, you need to use your own intelligence based on the project to determine that, close parentheses, in case something is off and we can make changes. I would agree. That's always get it done early. If you're not early, you're late. And you need to then decide whether or not it's a critical component. If it is, You should also begin working on a backup. Now, always have backups. That is a very good idea. And while working on a backup, you should check in with JB every single day, right? So don't assume that either it's going to even be there or it's going to work. You have to work on multiple things, have multiple, like a fail safe, basically. Just make sure it's completely fail safe. Ask him to send videos every day to spot problems early. Hell, maybe talk to him twice a day. I don't care. Just don't leave room for error. No excuses. Stop leaving room for error. Check in daily, receive videos, and know weeks in advance if you're fucked, not days. Next title, I am not always right. All right, we're on page 13 now. Shocker, I know. I'm young and I'll be the first to admit I'm not perfect. I promise not a single person on this planet wants to succeed more than I do, and no matter how much you work, you'll never invest more time into this company than I will, but I can't promise I'll always be right. Having said that, there are ways you can help me be right more often. For starters, you need to understand the world I'm in and how my mind works. This book in particular is for our production company, open parentheses, which, by the way, is the most important company and allows everything to succeed. Without the videos, everything else dies, close parentheses. But it's not all I have going on. I have to be the main talent for every gaming video, comma, every Reacts video, comma, every philanthropy video, comma, every TikTok, comma, Insta post, Instagram, comma, and every main channel video, which is basically 3 full-time jobs all by itself. Little things like sending videos to people for birthdays, attending events, networking, etc., all add up because I'm the face of the channel, right? He's the brand. On top of being the main talent, I have to work with each channel to make sure the creatives are always evolving and not getting stale, and in general, be a visionary for them. Basically, running 4 channels at a high level better than anyone else in the world can run one. He is doing a better job than I am. We also have a Beast Burger and Feastables, which I told you about. Do not buy that stuff. This is I guess if his audience is overweight and sick, then I guess those are good products for him to make money, Mr. Beast, but it's not good for society. We also had a Mr. Beast Burger and Feastables, and I still have to set the vision and be the lead creative. On top of that, we dub our channels in other languages. We run a translation company that works with our other channels as well. I also multiple times have a week to call other YouTubers to see what they are testing / doing, so I can always stay up to date and make sure we aren't missing anything. AKA, you need me networking a lot. What I'm trying to say is I have to run 4 channels. Like I do run 4 channels too. I don't have a staff though. 3 businesses. I have a couple businesses too. A charity. Oh, we have a charity. Yeah. And network / maintain our image all at the same time. Actually, I understand this, what he's saying right here. Most people would not understand that. So when you need when you need something from me, you have to understand that I'm probably not as knowledgeable about a video as you. Whatever you don't tell me, I don't know. When getting an answer from me, it's ideal you do the research and come to me with context and options instead of saying, quote, in an upcoming video, we are giving away a car. What do you think of this Lexus? It's only $10,000, unquote, which is how 99% of the questions are asked towards me. Do this instead. Quote, we have a coming up would you rather video. Okay. One of the bits at the 6 to 9 minute mark, we'll be giving away a car. We are still on budget, and the budget for this car is $10,000. I checked with PM. It could go up another $5,000 if you really want it. I searched all of NC, North Carolina, for cool-ass cars around that price point, and here are 5 I found that got pre-approved for creative on all budget. I also got 5 other backup options that are less, quote, cool, unquote, looking, and more average if you're going for that. Here's a picture of all 10 cars, the miles on the cars, and all the information you'd want. Which of these cars do you think is best, or should I get other options, question mark, unquote. If you want to look like you're doing your job, page 14, and don't care about the success of the video, ask me questions like the first example. If you want to take accountability and make your videos happen with a higher probability of success, do the second option. Open parentheses, this doesn't just apply to me, it applies to anyone high up you expect to make a decision. All right, next paragraph, title, critical components. Critical components are things that are essential to your video. If I want to put 100 people on an island and give it away to one of them, then securing an island is a critical component. It doesn't matter how well planned the challenges on the island are, how good the weather is, etc. Without the island, there is no video. Hence, it's a critical component. Another example of a critical component would be the title and thumbnail. Remember the bouncy castle story from earlier? How the thumbnail had a yellow bouncy castle, but the video had a red one? The thumbnails of the videos you're producing can also create critical components. A third example of a critical component would be if the creative on your team pitched me a video of 10 challenges and I said, quote, I liked the video, but mostly because of challenge 3 and 7. I'd hate the video without them, unquote. Challenge 3 and 7 are now essential to your video and thus critical components. Critical components can come from literally anywhere, and once something that you're working on is labeled as such, you treat it like your baby. And then in capital letters, without what you're working on, we do not have a video, exclamation mark. Now back to normal. Protect it at all costs. Check on it 10 times a day. Obsess on it. Make a backup. If it requires shipping, pay someone to pick it up and drive it. Don't trust standard shipping, and speak up the second anything goes wrong. The literal second. Never flip a critical component. Never coin flip a critical component. And in parentheses, it says that means you're coin flipping the video, aka $1 million+, and always bring in me or James earlier rather than later. Next paragraph, title, communication lines. It's very important as a company we maintain proper communication lines, onset and offset. There is always someone responsible for everything on the video, and if multiple people are responsible for the same thing, then that's a problem and it needs to be fixed immediately. Ideally, when communicating across departments, if you go up and then over, ideally, when communicating across departments, you go up and then over. If you skip and just go below you, page 15, prize must then call and let people know in charge. What does that mean? If you skip and just go below, you prize must. I don't know what that word is. Then call and let people know in charge. Let's say you're a production coordinator and you call a writer and tell him you need some bits about a sandwich being cooked with lava. Seems harmless. Except now Tyler, head of creative, has no idea what his writer is working on. And worse, doesn't know that's an option when he directs the video. Will, head of production, also has no idea this has been set into motion, and when planning and tracking the progress of the video, doesn't know to account for this. Will later finds out about it and assumes Tyler approved the bit and starts planning on how to make lava, and then wastes 3 days making lava until Tyler catches wind, and then Tyler asks her why she is making lava, and she has no idea, and everyone is confused. This is what happens when you don't follow proper communication lines. If when this bit was requested, Tyler and Allie were called first, days of bullshit would have been saved. Seems simple, but it happens dozens of times a week and causes tons of double and triple work. That is not efficient. If you're trying to stay on top like this guy, you cannot afford that many mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, but you got to figure them out like he's saying, and you got to make sure that you don't do that going forward. All right, next paragraph title, creativity saves money. Let's see how I'm doing on time here. Okay. I don't think it comes as a surprise when I say we don't have unlimited money here. We can't have every video constantly going over budget because the money has to come from somewhere. But you're in a tough spot because I constantly want better and better videos. A lot of people who work here have definitely thought before, quote, if Jimmy, which is Mr. Beast, wants us to be on a budget, why does he keep asking us to do so many expensive things? Or, quote, I know Jimmy wouldn't like this, so I need to spend more money. Unquote. People always assume money is the answer, and if we just spend more money, we can give Jimmy what he wants, which is wrong. Creativity is the answer. Here's an example I use all the time with our gaming team. They love to give away money every video, but which sounds cooler to you as a prize for a gaming video? $20,000 or a year's supply of Doritos? To me, Doritos is so much funnier, and I think our audience would find it freaking or fucking hilarious. So let's say what we define a year's supply of Doritos by 5 packs of Doritos a day for 365 days. That's 1,825 packs of Doritos. Again, really bad for your health. And a quick Google search, but he doesn't care. He wants to get as many viewers as possible. Shows you can buy a pack of Doritos for less than $1. But we can round up and say just $1 for a pack of Doritos. Our price for the video just went from $20,000 down to $1,825 because we didn't just throw money at the problem and we used creativity. This applies to everything everything that every single one of you do, whether it be finding a crane for a video, deciding prizes, picking locations, finding critical components, page 16, or doing the most minuscule thing, use creativity to save money, because every dollar we save allows me to give you guys more stability and hire more people to make your life easier. If you want to succeed here, say this 10 times in your head, quote, creativity saves money, unquote. Creativity saves money. Creativity saves money. Next paragraph title, always have a backup day. He talked about backups earlier. No one will ever have 100% success when it comes to filming our videos on time and on budget. It's impossible, but you can still do certain things to increase the probability of success. And one of the easiest but most overlooked is having a backup day. When you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars securing a set, renting a tank, etc., make sure you have the ability to extend them in case something goes wrong. Open parentheses, it might not even be your video. Something might go wrong on gaming, and now I need to slide your video a day to make up for it. Close parentheses. I'd rather have a hypothetical 90% cool looking tank with a dope owner who is making life easier on us, letting me do whatever I want, and the ability to pay extra to add a day, than a 100% cool looking tank, but the owner micromanages what we do, and there is no backup day. This example is obvious, just throwing it out there to inspire you. Always check with creative before you do something like this, but backup days are necessary, and ideally we work with people that see the value in us and love us, so they will be even more flexible. That's right. I mean, they've got a reputation. People know who they are. They don't even have to announce who they are, and people will probably be shocked when they get phone calls from them asking people to work with Mr. Beast. Next paragraph title, don't take anything at face value, always dig. One of the common themes you're probably seeing is accountability, and this doubles down on that. Don't take anything at face value. Always dig. This is particularly important when dealing with people outside of Mr. Beast's production team. If somebody says, too good to be true, find out why. If someone says something too good to be true, find out why. Yeah, it always is too good to be true. If it's fishy, investigate. If you need 10,000 pillows by next week and you've called 10 pillow companies and none have more than a few hundred in stock, but the 11th company magically has 10,000 pillows, investigate. Are they drop shipping? Are the pillows shitty? What the fuck does no one want? Wait, why the fuck does no one want your pillows? Push and get answers. What tends to happen is people think their job is done by finding the 10,000 pillows and just order them for us, only to find problems with them when they arrive, but it's too close to filming window to fix it. Do not overly trust people outside the company. Page 17. Investigate and verify what they say, or it is your fault if they don't pull through. That's good advice. It needs to be your fault. Can't blame somebody else. Next paragraph title, higher form of communication. We're on page 17. We've got, oh my gosh, 20 more pages to go. I would like to get this done at some point in the near future. All right. If you spend any amount of time with James, you'll hear him bring up higher forms of communication a lot because it's important and somehow very overlooked by most people. The worst thing you could ever do when you need something for your critical component is email someone at the company. The best is to talk to them in real life. It's very important to know when to call for stuff, grab them in real life, and when to text them. Those are three different things, apparently. Grab them in real life doesn't mean a phone call, does it? I don't even know. It sounds like in person. I don't know. We'll find out. Excuse me. The lower the form of communication, the more miscommunication you will face. As I'm typing this, you have no idea if I'm laughing, smiling, happy, mad, or sad. You can't read my body language or my face, and because of that, it's not guaranteed that you'll understand what I'm conveying. Need more toilet paper in a bathroom? A text is probably fine. 1 week out from a video and the thing you're working out just went south? Minimum, a multi-way call with the heads of the video. Ideally, grab them in real life if you can. The more complex what needs to be said is, comma, the higher the form of the communication you should use. Call first, then text if they don't answer. Since we are on the topic of communication, written communication also does not constitute communication unless they confirm they read it. I know that is absolutely true. I remember when the email first came out, I used to send out read receipts, and some people were really annoyed that I sent them out, and they refused to acknowledge them. But it's for the exact reason that Mr. Beast is saying here. And people who don't want to be held to anything, you'll find out quickly who those people are, and you probably don't want to work with them. All right, next paragraph title, own your mistakes. I hate excuses, and I despise with my entire soul when people just try to save face instead of learn from how they messed up. Mistakes are okay, exclamation mark. Genuinely, they are, and I expect you to make them a lot. That's perfectly fine. Every veteran here has cost me $1 million at one point or another, and you can go ask them yourself if I ever held it over their heads. The reason I'm okay with fuck-ups is because I know that's how you learn. I see it as me investing in you and your brain, open parentheses, hence why I have zero tolerance for C players, and they must go immediately. Those fuck-ups could be done by an A player that will retain the information learned. A C player won't. Close parentheses. I just beg that you learn from every mistake and not try to repeat it. That's when it gets annoying. That's true with anybody in any aspect of life, I would say. I've never, ever once fired someone on the spot for messing up, but you have nothing to be afraid of. So you have nothing to be afraid of. Own shit so we can address how to fix it and then move on. Page 18. Title of this paragraph, nothing comes before your prios, I guess priorities. When you're being assigned tasks, you should have what we call a prio list. If Ali says your prios are to 1, get a Lamborghini under $200,000, 2, get it wrapped in an anime character, and number 3, make a custom steering wheel, then nothing on this freaking planet is allowed to come between you and getting those prios done. If the other team asks for your help and you spend 2 days helping them and fall behind on getting your Lamborghini secured in large capital letters, that's your fault. If the studio is burning down and you stop working to put out the fire and don't get the Lamborghini in large capital letters, that's your fault. And then he says, jokes, haha. But seriously, don't let anything come before your prios. Paragraph title, use consultants. Consultants are literally cheat codes. We're on page 18 to remind you. Need to make the world's largest slice of cake. Start by calling the person who made the previous world's largest slice of cake, LOL. He's already done countless tests and can save you weeks worth of work. I really want to drill this point home because I'm a massive believer in consultants. Because I've spent almost a decade of my life hyper obsessing over YouTube. I can show a brand new creator how to go from 100 subscribers to 10,000 in a month. On their own, if it would take them years to do it. Consults are a gift from God. Please take advantage of them. In every single freaking task assigned to you, always, always, always ask yourself first if you can find a consultant to help you. This is so important that I am demanding you repeat it 3 times in your head. Quote, I will always check for consultants when I'm assigned a task, unquote. I will always check for consultants when I'm assigned a task, unquote. I will always check for consultants when I'm assigned a task. Next paragraph title, Math Science Vision Approvals Budget. Math Science Vision Approvals Budget. Everything you need can be solved by one of these 5 things above. Use math, science, vision, approvals, or budget. Okay, page 19. Paragraph title, no does not mean no. When dealing with people outside Mr. Beast Productions, never take a no at face value. If we need a store to buy everything inside of and you call the local Dollar Tree and the person that answers says, no, you can't film here, unquote, that literally doesn't mean shit. Talk to other employees and see if they are fans, which they probably are. And if any of them have kids that are fans, yeah, they probably are. Try talking to their boss's boss. Have me DM them on Twitter and try their social media team, etc. If after all venues are exhausted and you're left with a no, it doesn't mean don't try the other Dollar Trees because the manager of those could be huge fans and willing to bend the rules. Basically what I'm saying, what I'm trying to convey is what we call, quote, pushing through no, unquote. Don't just stop because one person told you no. Stop when all conceivable options are exhausted. This is one of many tools that, when combined, dramatically improve your probability of success when producing here. All right, next paragraph title. Work on multiple videos every day. Now, this is probably the idea of you always want to have a bunch of things going because you never know which ones are going to work out the best. That's what I would say. Please do not come in and work on only one video during the workday. That's how you fall behind on future videos and create a nasty cycle that I'm trying to stop. If you drop everything and go all in on a video for 3 days, then that's 3 days your other videos will fall behind, and eventually you'll have to drop videos to focus on those videos, and it will snowball until you can't do anything but focus on what's right in front of you because you murdered any lead time you had. If you ever only work on one video during your day, you failed as a Mr. Beast employee that day. Next paragraph title. Be able to hold a camera like I'm holding right now in my hand to read this. Obviously, everyone has their roles in the company, and TBH, if you can consistently lead and produce videos for me with a 90% success rate, IDC, I don't care. If you piss in the sink every day, I'll still love you. But having said that, it'd be nice if at some point you got training on our style of holding a camera. When we do a big shoot, not local, it'd be nice to not have to bring 10 million production people and 100,000 camera people. If, for example, there are only a few scenes that need a couple extra cameramen, I'd love for us not to have to fly, house, transport, and baby more cameramen when we could just have a few people from production or creative, page 20. Help for those overflow scenes, because typically the more cameramen we have filming again, you mean recording, the less important each shot becomes. Yeah, because you have redundancy, you can find the best shots, you can find the best whatever content, whatever you grabbed, and the editors can deal with that. Next paragraph title, 1 out of 10 good, 10 out of 10 bad. YouTube has a feature that compares a new upload's performance to the previous 9 videos and tells you how the views rank in the first hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, etc. This is what it looks like. There it is. Okay, so you can see top 3. This is top 3. And typical goes down to 7. Let's see what else. 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's what it looks like. Anyway. And then top recent videos. So a lot of this I don't have to read. It's just a graphic. It's just, there's not much to see here if you're not looking at it. You're not missing anything. So if you hear someone ask what a video was out of 10, this is what they're asking for. Okay, there you go. Page 23, paragraph title, random things you should know. I'm almost done with this chapter and we can move on to creative. But before we do, I still have tons of notes around producing content that I can't really break into their own sections. So I want to rapid fire them here so you at least hear them once before starting your journey. Do not leave contestants waiting in the sun, ideally waiting in general, for more than 3 hours. Squid Game, it cost us $500,000, and Boys versus Girls, it got a lot of people out. Ask James to know more. And these are bold-faced. Spectacles are videos that only the Mr. Beast channel can do. Spectacles. Not every video should be a spectacle, and we realize these videos are hard, but that's the point. I hate having tons of people on set. If somebody is necessary, then that's fine. But if not, kick them off the set and go have them watch from behind a monitor. Create an environment where the contestants also feel natural. I'd rather you be honest with each other than nice to each other. Do not talk down to talent or do anything to make them feel like shit. I need them to be happy and in good moods, and those boys are special to me. Ideally, most talks with talent, meaning Chris, Carl, Chandler, Nolan, go through me, Allie, or Tyler to avoid confusion amongst them. Me, like simple. The simpler the better. And then apply with a grain of salt in capital letters. We pivot a lot. Be ready to have everything flipped on its head at a moment's notice, LOL. I want money spent to be shown on camera, ideally. If you're spending over $10,000 or something and it won't be shown on camera, seriously, think about it. Work with intensity. Push outwards, not inwards. Pull all-nighters weeks before the shoot so you don't have to days before the shoot. If something goes wrong on a shoot, always check to see if it can be made into content. Yeah, the bloopers. A tree fall over on your car and breaks the 100 vases we needed to give away. And in capital letters, that's fucking hilarious, and we should mention it in the video, LOL. Feasibility is working to see if the critical components of a video are actually possible. Example would be if I wanted to play hide and seek in the world's largest building, if you did feasibility on this, that basically means you're trying to see if it's possible to get that building. If you do, then we have a video and it should go into production. If you can't, then that's why it was in feasibility, so no one else wasted time. Never do anything that could make us look bad from a PR perspective. We often do renderings of sets to see what they look like beforehand, which is amazing, and it helps a lot because I'm very visual and it gets the whole team on the same page. When doing these renders, though, I want to make sure you know the difference between a previs and a concept. Please do not refer to a render as a previs unless that is actually what we plan on building. If it's just a render for inspiration and is not building locked, call it a concept. This will greatly help with confusion, in my opinion. Many people wave around a concept but call it previs, and people see it expecting that is what's going to be built, only to find out later it was a concept and the actual set is much different. All right, next chapter, chapter 3, creative. We're on page 25. So we have 9 pages to go. Let me get a quick drink. You can take a break too if you want. We are a creative first production company because when creative leads the vision of the shoot, the product is always better. So I think it's important you all understand creative. It's what drives everything we do and is the heart of our content. Being creative and understanding is what makes good content. Being creative and understanding what makes good content is like cheat codes when in production, camera, and obviously editing. Let's take production, for example. Let's say you are tasked with finding us a castle to live in for 50 hours, and while doing your research, you find a castle and a number to call for the owner. So you do call and he answers. Only problem is he says he quit the castle renting business to pursue his dream of building a 100-foot tall Lego catapult. You can obviously tell where I'm going with this. Ideally, you'd recognize that's badass as fuck and try to convince him to let us use it when we do find a castle. This is a bad example because it's so obvious, but if you're doing your job right, you'll be doing an absurd amount of calls and data collecting. When trying to complete your prios and prepare for the video, your priorities and prepare for the video, you should always be on the lookout for new things you can bring to your creative team to inspire them. Because just like me, they don't know what they don't know. And you can't say, quote, I'm in production and I'm not very creative, unquote, because that's literally the equivalent of saying I suck at what I do. You also need to apply the same mindset when problem solving because many people lose sight of the stuff when in the weeds. If a problem appears, always, always, always ask yourself if your new plan is what's best for creative, not just the easiest Band-Aid. Next paragraph title, what is the goal of our content? To excite me. The goal of our content is to excite me. That's Mr. Beast talking. That may sound weird to some of you, especially if you're new, but to me, it's what's most important. If I'm not excited to get in front of the camera and film the video, it's just simply not going to happen. I'm not fake and I will be authentic. That's partly why the channel does so well. And if I'm not excited by the video, we're fucked. Literally, I say I'm a pretty predictable guy, at least in this regard, haha. What excites me is what I believe will make the audience happy. That's what it's always been and always will be. Will make the audience happy. Well, I think that selling food that doesn't harm them will make your audience happy. I think he's a little bit off in that area, but that's something else to be discussed later. He didn't say that. I'm willing to count to 100,000. That's what I talked about earlier. He did that 10 years ago, probably. Bury myself alive or walk a marathon in the world's largest pairs of shoes if I must. I just want to do what makes me happy and ultimately the viewers happy. This channel is my baby and I've given up my life for it. I'm so emotionally connected to it that it's sad, LOL. But this is the one thing I will never compromise on. I have zero issues throwing away a multi-million-dollar video if I don't think that it's up to my standards, and this is good for the audience. Page 26. We must always be improving and innovating. The camera angles need to always get better. The pacing, the story, the jokes, the color, the lighting, the music, the props, the people are framing our ideas. Literally everything must always be improving and innovating because that is what excites me. That's literally what I live for, to see these videos get better and ultimately make the viewers happy. Well, like I said, there's more room for improvement there, Mr. B. Start selling some food that doesn't harm people. Next paragraph. What makes good content? This is where things get subjective and my brain is probably going to turn into mush. The problem with what I'm writing here is that good content is limitless. Literally anything can make good content. Let's take a baby doll, for example. You can see who can throw it the farthest with their left hand out of a group of 5 people. Watching them throw a baby doll with their bad hand and funny sound effects is fucking hilarious. You can also go the opposite route and have 1,000 baby dolls and see how many it takes for someone to throw it in a crib 200 feet away. Or you can see how many baby dolls it would take to break a 2x4 in half. The point that I'm trying to convey here is that even something as simple as a baby doll has an infinite amount of ways you can turn it into amazing, original, and funny content. That's one of the secret weapons of Mr. Beast Productions. We aren't stuck in any old ways of thinking. And you can literally turn anything into content. Good content can be anything. Always have an open mind and never stop innovating. This is good advice for anybody. Having said that, and usually people that stop pivoting and stop innovating, they just go out of business, like the old video people, the AKA like ABC, NBC, CBS, those people. Even PBS probably. Having said that, this is YouTube, and there are constraints. There are. You know that the video can't be a minute, so you're obviously going to need a story to hold the viewers, and there are rules to storytelling. Our audience is massive, and because of that, you have to be simple. For 50 million people to understand something, it must be simple. Content can be anything, but there is structure and rules that we must mold into that. I want to teach you about because virality doesn't just happen. Every frame of our videos will be seen by tens of millions of people. Let me also clarify one thing I said earlier about Mr. Beast selling food that harms his audience. Their taste buds don't think it's harming them. His audience, he's selling it for their audience's taste buds, but he's still harming them. That's as simple as I can get. Okay. Hopefully he'll start to change that. And as I've said in my video I made, I hope that he gets some healthy vegan food. Learn more at healthyveganfood.info and have Mr. Beast contact me. All right. Next paragraph title. How to measure the success of content. Like I said at the start of the metrics you care about in regards to virality are CTR, AVD, and AVP. If you want to know if the contents of a video are good, just look at the AVD and AVP of a video after we upload it. Because based on how long people watch, page 27, and what percentage of the video they watch, you can clearly see if they enjoyed it. To show this in action, below is the retention data of 2 separate videos of almost identical length from the channel. All AVD and AVP data I share will be the first day data to make it apples to apples. If you don't know what this means, that's okay. It's mostly in case Mario gets his hands on this. Haha. One video has 120 million views and the other only 45 million. Look at these retention numbers and see if you can pick one which got triple the views. That's in first day, my gosh. Let's see. So you can see, let's see. All right, he's just showing two different graphs. Here's one, audience retention. That's what it looks like. That's one of them. And then next one, compare it, get that shiny light. There you go. Okay. The answer is the lower image, second one. People on average watch this video a minute and 38 seconds longer than the other video of the same length. And this is in all capital letters. Of course it got triple the views. It's clear as day for YouTube that people liked this video much more. For your videos to do well, You must get their AVD and AVP as high as possible. The longer people watch, the better a video will do. This is why I'm such a stickler about every single second of content. Hook people at the start of the video, transition them to an amazing story that they're invested in, have no dull moments, and then have a satisfying payoff in the end of the video with an abrupt ending. Next paragraph title is formats from page 29. One way to boost retention on a video is to have a good format for the video to follow. Let's use our popular Last to Leave series as an example. These videos have many reasons why they do well, but one in particular is the payoff at the end. You see, once you start watching a Last to Leave, you get interested in the progress and the challenge. You really want to see who leaves the circle last and wins the $100,000. Luckily, the winner isn't revealed until the end of the video, so as long as we don't make the video boring as hell, people are very likely to stick around till the end. Strong payoffs at the end of videos boost retention. But obviously, Last to Leave isn't our only format. Another example of a format is what I like to call stair-stepping. A good example of this is, quote, "I bought the world's largest firework," unquote. This video opens with us showing all of the fireworks and then lighting a $1 firework, then a $10 firework, then 50, then 375, then 1,000, then 10,000. And then we did some content, then $40,000 firework, $100,000 firework, and then the world record. As you get deeper in, the stakes get higher. The payoff of the world record is at the end. So it's such a beautiful format that allows you to deviate if you want, as long as things progressively get cooler. I fucking love stair stepping. Another format would be the ones where I get chased like bounty hunter, military, FBI. Just like the Last to Leave challenges, you don't know until the end of the video what the result is. Will they catch me? Will I get away? Gotta watch till the end. Throughout the history of this channel, we've been through many formats. A big one back in the day was, quote, donating to Twitch streamers. Yeah, because it was all males, guys on Twitch, but watching other people play games, unquote. And people loved them. I'd go into random streams and donate $10,000 to a streamer to see how they'd react. All in all, we did like 12 of them, and when I stopped, people still begged for more. And that's because, like Steve Jobs says, people don't know what they want. But you gotta get out when you're on top, that's for sure, before it starts to flail and look bad. The viewer may think they want a format forever, but they don't. They want new and fresh things. This is evident because every channel that rehashes formats for years always dies. That's true. You got to keep innovating. This is why I'm constantly ditching formats in exchange for new ones. Ideally, two videos from the same format are not back-to-back. I'd like multiple different videos in between them if possible. Page 30. Next paragraph title, who's our audience? Here are screenshots from the back end. Europe is a big percentage, but it's broken up in the country, so it doesn't seem like it. All right. And this is... Boop. I don't know if you can read that. That's their audience. Okay. And then this is age and gender. Yeah, 60, almost 70% males, 30% females. That's weird because most people on the internet are women, unless you're in certain genres like he is. Men don't seem to use the internet as much unless they're gamers. And then there's the age range too, the graph of the age range. Okay, so most of them are 18 to 44. That's a big age range. My gosh. All right. Our content is consumed by everyone at this point. Kids watch the videos with their mom, even though our female viewership is only 30%. That's still 9-figure views a month from women, and it's worldwide, but not to worldwide. 50% plus is still America and Europe. But despite saying that, it's at its core, if I had to describe it, I'd say the average Mr. Beast viewer is a teenage memer that likes video games. I would say that too. It's always been like that, it seems like. But it can't say like that, I don't think. Can it? Next paragraph title, you should watch our videos. If you're going to be working for Beast Brand, then you should be a fan of the Beast Brand. A lot of very valuable knowledge comes from watching vast amounts of our videos. I feel silly for having to write this But all the time I talk to new people that have seen at most like 5 or 6 of our videos, and it's mind-blowing that they don't see a problem with that, LOL. Page 32. As I said earlier, I'd love for you to watch all the channels, but especially the main channel, seeing how you're working on it. To get 60% up to speed, I'd watch our last 50-ish videos. If you're a monster and really want to understand the history of the company and innovations we've been through, I recommend you watch every video back until you hit the 10 million subscriber special. Anything before that is a waste of time, in my opinion, because that was super early days. And he already had 10 million subscribers then. If you've seen every video we've made since 10 mil, then you'll have a lot of context and information others don't, and it will make you that much, much, much more valuable. All right, next paragraph title, brand deals are content. Brand deals are content. If you watch a lot of YouTube, you'll probably notice when someone does a brand deal, it's boring and sounds like they're reading a script. It does. We take a different approach to brand deals. We like to integrate them into the content so it doesn't nuke our retention and boosts conversion. Well, what brand deals is he doing? I know he has his own food to sell. Remember that I told you we could see the exact moment when viewers click off our videos? Here's a retention chart for when we used to do brand deals the old way. And that's what it looked like doing it the old way. Notice the crater where the brand deal is. That means people skipped it and also clicked off the video. Now here's a retention chart with a brand new style, brand deal in it. He has it later in the video, for one thing. The dip is way less dramatic, and for the most part, something I can live with to help fund the videos. And in capital letters, brand deals are content. And when we treated such boosts, and when treated as such, boosts retention. We need to make them entertaining. Also, in fact, the last CEO that sponsored a video said that the return was 1.7x the return they got on NFL championship game ad. He said with an NFL commercial, you get a giant spike of customers day one, and then it disappears forever after that. Whereas a brand deal with us, you get a huge spike for a few days, and then it settles down. And then a re-spike when we upload again, because after they watch the new video, they go back and watch the video before it. And even after that, our videos typically get 1 million views plus a month for years, aka tons of residual customers. Next paragraph title, we're on page 33, understand culture. Oh, we're almost done. Amazing. What you consume on social media, when you watch YouTube, TV, the games you play, etc., are what I like to call your information diet. Yeah, he doesn't have the food diet dialed in, as I talked about. Chris Tyson, our first subscriber and the guy in the videos, is a wonderful example of an information diet being used to perfection. The dude is funny as fuck. I've never met anyone in my entire life that can make people laugh like he can, and I never understood why he was so good at it until I lived with him for a few years. The dude watches an obscene amount of cartoons and stupid shit. His eyeballs exist to inhale copious amounts of just goofy, dumb, and brain-numbing content. And as a result, he can quote almost any line from any episode of SpongeBob. He's able, page 34, to draw from so much stupid shit in his head as inspiration to make jokes and be quirky. As a result, he is fucking hilarious. But let's imagine a different Chris. Let's say instead of cartoons and stupid shit, his information diet was stocks and interesting advice. And for 5 years, that's all he consumed. Do you think he'd be just as funny as he currently is? No. He, in my opinion, wouldn't even be 20% as funny. If you're a writer or director, you really need to monitor and perfect your information diet. Right. It should be on your diet should be related and relevant to what you're producing. That's for sure. If your diet is not correct, you won't be in a good pulse. You won't have a good pulse on culture. I won't want you to be a Chris. In fact, I don't want you to be a Chris. I think that would probably do you harm. Talent needs to inhale cartoons so they can be funny. Writers need to inhale inspiration. Let's say there's a purple fruit in the middle of Australia that, when eaten, makes you 2 feet taller. If it truly did exist, you wouldn't have known that until just right now. But now that you know it, You can draw on it for inspiration for every piece of content that you write going forward. That's beautiful. It can now sit in the back of your mind waiting for that one video where it's needed. It might take you 10 videos or even 100, but eventually you'll be brainstorming a bit and think of the right one to use the fruit for. Apply this to everything on this fucking planet. You can't, these are all periods after each word, get inspired by things you don't even know exist. So how do you learn more about what's out there in the world? How do you stay up to date on the latest memes? How do you know what's going on with celebrities? What's trending on YouTube? What other creators are doing? What's popping on TikTok? Your information diet. Consume things on a daily basis that help you write better content. Actually, that's pretty good advice, from especially for his employees, because he's basically making them work off the clock when they're on their own personal time. Doing research. 34. My voice might make it. Next paragraph title. It's okay for the boys to be childish. If talent wants to draw a dick on the whiteboard in the video or do something stupid, let them. Assuming they know all the risks and aren't missing context on why it's not safe. People like when we are in our natural element of stupidity. People like when we're in our natural element of stupidity. I guess that's his brand. Really do everything you can to empower the boys when filming and help them make content. Help them be idiots. That's what it says here. We don't fake things. Make sure to prep contestants and try to create an environment where they feel comfortable talking. If you wrote a banger piece of content, but it's a 50-50 chance of working, write another piece of content. Content is unlimited. Don't be lazy. Run your content by as many people as possible for inspiration on how you can make it even better. I want famous people in our videos. Don't ever put me in a situation where I have to lie, because I won't, and it'll screw the video. These are all the little add-ons he's including. No dull moments in videos. You can't fake intensity in videos. The video endings must always be abrupt to protect retention. This isn't a creative thing, but in general, when on the set, be attentive and engaged. Filming days are stressful enough. Please be useful. Be useful, please. Chapter 4, last one, page 35. Your career. If you've made it this far, you're probably at least semi-interested in this being your career, so I wanted to chat about it. Because if you're ambitious and want to dedicate your life to work, you pick the best company in America to do it at. I really don't care to hoard a bunch of money, and I deeply believe in rewarding the people that help this business get it where it needs to be. But before I get into that, let's talk about the future. As I write this, we have 2 teams that will grow to 4 in the next year and possibly 8 in the next 2 years. But I can't talk about that because James will kill me. Ha. Like he's saying, he thinks that YouTube is going to keep expanding. We need more leaders in the company. We need hardworking, obsessive, coachable, intelligent grinders that can step up and make some of these leadership spots or take some of these leadership spots in the next 2 years. Every single department has an opportunity for you to grow in, and you're in luck because we don't do yearly reviews. We do whenever the fuck you want reviews. If you want to become a production manager, tell James your intention and ask him why you suck and how you can become better. Last page, 36. Seriously, he'll give you a list of things that you need to improve to become what we need. And if you actually listen and master those things, we will give you a shot at the role. Only problem is most people think they are better than they really are and don't take seriously when we give them things to improve on and then wonder why they never move up. This isn't a bureaucratic corporate company. You don't have to do something for 5 years to get a promotion. I hate the word promotion. The more responsibility, risk you help us navigate, and overall bullshit you deal with, the more you make. And if you want more of that, we'll gladly help train you to receive it. Haha. There is finally room for you to grow here. No, there is infinite room for you to grow here. This isn't a stepping stone. This is your final destination. We will win, and we are going to build something amazing. I see a world where a company is worth billions and one day tens of billions. This company is worth billions and one day tens of billions. Okay. And those of you that help us build this will be rewarded. I want nothing more than for you to go all in, obsessive all day, every day. Like I said, work, you're going to have to work outside of the time you're getting paid in your personal life, consuming content, and become so goddamn valuable, this company can't operate without you. And in return for being so valuable, I hope to give you incredible experiences, a fun place to work, and of course, more money than you could ever dream of making at any other company. Now read this all over again because I guarantee you didn't retain enough. And that's it. All right, well, you don't have to read it all over again. You can just stop this video or go back, hit the back button so you watch it all over again. And actually, that'll help with my stats too. So let me know what you think of this down in the bottom in the comments. And I think this is relevant in all areas of life. Actually, everybody should hear something like this. And this is why this guy is successful. You know, usually the elements of success for being successful in anything are the same, you know, I'd say life axiom type of just habits, really. I mean, that's what he's talking about, having a certain set of expectations and habits so that you can keep having, you know, enjoying. It sounds like he's enjoying what he does, and intensity is a word. I know a lot of people accuse me of being intense too. So maybe, I don't know, I don't have as many followers or subscribers as this guy, but I can relate to what he's saying anyway. So look forward to reading your comments. Share this with others that can benefit from it, and definitely watch it again, just like Mr. Beast says. We'll check you in the next video.